Hello and welcome to this week's Midweek message for Thursday, the 14th of December. I'm Freda Pitfield. I'm from the Golden Cat team. If or when you hear the world news or the local news, do you sometimes feel despair at what you hear day by day? All that's happening in Gaza, Israel, and the Ukraine, and places all around the world. The other day, I came across a lovely little book called Simply Kindness by Lois Blythe. Each page speaks of an example of how one person had taken it upon themselves to carry out an act of kindness for someone in need. It's a book that spreads a feeling of happiness. There is delight too in hearing of acts of kindness offered by people giving their time in providing food and shelter for those who have nothing. Maybe there are more acts of kindness than we imagine, simply from one person to another and happening all the time. There's the story of a teenager in Devon who had worked hard to buy himself a moped to ride to school, necessary as he had important exams to take. But one day it was stolen and then later found abandoned in the river. He was distraught. It had taken him a long time to save up enough money. But then he was amazed by what happened next. A pensioner came into the cafe where he worked and gave him the money to buy a new one. She had been moved to tears when she heard what had happened, and she just wanted to help him, and without any fuss. Overwhelmed, the teenager puzzled over how one person could be so mean-spirited and another could offer such generous kindness and to a complete stranger. He did go out and buy himself another moped, but he didn't forget the kindness of the stranger, and he kept in touch with her, and in time they became good friends. Now he knows this stranger as a very kind and caring person, and he continued to keep in touch and went on to help her with her gardening. The same book offers an accompanying quotation by someone called Richard Carlson, who said, "Choose being kind over being right, and you'll be right every time." Think about it. A Swiss-American psychiatrist, the well-known Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, says, "I have never met a person whose greatest need was anything other than real, unconditional love. Unconditional love can be found in a simple act of kindness towards someone who needs help. And I believe kindness can be found in most people. It's mentioned in the Bible, in Galatians chapter 5. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. The Bible is filled with good words about kindness. Jesus said, "Love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful." St. Luke tells us this in chapter 6, verse 35. So doesn't this wisdom from Luke suggest that our kindness actually reflects the heart of the Father in heaven? The greatest kindness of all time was when God sent his dearly loved and only Son to die, that we might be forgiven, that we might be made fit to live with an utterly holy God in the peace and joy of heaven. Although it may sometimes feel as if the newspapers report more of the not so good that happens in the world today, if you think about it, isn't there a truly overwhelming amount of kindness, no doubt happening all the time? Just think of the kindness shown by those many, many ordinary people who did, and some continue, to offer a home to the Ukrainian refugees. And there was kindness in the deep concern shown in the hearts of rescue workers offering assistance in Libya after the massive destruction brought by the September floods, and in the Philippines and Hawaii after the devastating earthquakes there. The papers may report more of the negative side of life. As John Southard says, the only people with whom you should try to get even with are those who have helped you. In other words, reflect the kindness offered to you. Like many of you, I have books of fiction and non-fiction alike, and I would guess almost all of them have incidental stories to tell of the kindness of others. Kindness is everywhere, and that is heartwarming. As you listen to this midweek message, you yourselves may be reflecting on kind deeds of others made among your family and friends. And you have probably forgotten the kindness that you yourself have shown to others, and more than once. Perhaps the kindness of others make a bigger impact on us than our own. And kindness can come in many disguises. Isn't it shown in compassion, in keeping our promises, in offering care, concern, thoughtfulness, especially when feeling reluctant, to anyone, whoever they may be? And didn't Winnie the Pooh hit the nail on the head when he said, "Just because an animal is large, it doesn't mean he doesn't want kindness." However big Tigger seems to be, remember that he wants kindness as much as Roo. We all need kindness. May God bless you for your acts of kindness. And thank you for joining me today.